What is going on, everybody? So, I'm actually recording this the same day that I recorded the 10 red flags video for the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, today I wanted to talk about all of the positives of the Nintendo Switch 2 because I know it's hard to believe, but I've been looking forward to this handheld for 8 years. So, here are the 10 green flags that the Nintendo Switch 2 raises. Now, number one is Cyberpunk 2077 looks absolutely incredible, sharp, and very smooth running on the Nintendo Switch 2, especially from all of those Switch 2 experience videos that we see on YouTube. I am very excited to play Cyberpunk 2077 on this handheld, especially from the fact that it plays at 1080p. Now, of course, this game can play at 1080p on a handheld like ROG Ally, but the ROG Ally is nowhere near as thin and light as the Nintendo Switch 2. It is truly groundbreaking that a game plays and looks this well on this handheld that is that small, light, and portable. Now, number two is on the same point. The system is only 1.18 pounds, and considering the type of games that it can run, its size and weight is extremely impressive. And in those Switch 2 experience videos, the first thing that people notice is how light this system truly is. And it's something that I'm looking forward to very much when I use the Nintendo Switch 2 for the first time. And it's something that just might change my mind when it comes to purchasing one for myself. And of course, you're going to be able to dock the system and slide it into the dock with ease because of how light and thin it is. And when comparing to something like the Steam Deck, ROG Ally, and especially a Legion Go, the system's weight is nothing in comparison to those handhelds. And number three is when playing games like Street Fighter 6, Hitman World of Assassins, and Cyberpunk 2077 from handheld to docked, because it is a Nintendo Switch, it would be the most convenient and seamless way to play these games ever. And a lot of PC handhelds have tried to duplicate the experience of docking and undocking to play in handheld mode as seamless as the Switch and have gotten nowhere near that experience, in my opinion. Even something like the Steam Deck has a lot of caveats when docking and undocking the system. Of course, Valve made an exclusive Steam Deck dock, but that thing is $80. I mean, why didn't it just come with the Steam Deck in the first place? You know, it's already like $500 and you got to spend another $80. I haven't tried the official Steam Deck dock, but I hear it's pretty good, but most likely due to operating system limitations. Even docking something like the Steam Deck with its official dock will prove to have a lot of issues, but I don't exactly know, but you guys can let me know in the comments. And number four is Nintendo is already rumored to be developing ports like Doom: The Dark Ages and Red Dead Redemption 2 to the Nintendo Switch 2. And if ports like these keep making their way to the handheld, my wallet will die of natural causes, because that sounds absolutely amazing. Now, of course, games like Red Dead Redemption 2 work flawlessly on systems like the ROG Ally, but like I said before, the experience of docking and undocking and the weight of the system, along with other factors that I'm going to list off, make playing games like Doom: The Dark Ages and Red Dead Redemption 2 on a Switch 2 a lot more convenient. I don't know exactly how well Doom: The Dark Ages is going to work, and most likely they're going to implement some kind of dynamic resolution to the game, but they're most likely not going to do that with Red Dead Redemption 2 since it is a PlayStation 4 title. And number five is the Switch 2's Joy-Con 2s are now magnetic, which is a huge upgrade from the Switch 1's sliding rails that can easily be loosened and made wobbly. And since day one, I thought the Switch 1's Joy-Cons were very flimsy for what they were. Within months of having my original Switch, those Joy-Cons did not feel stable on the handheld. And I could see that little latch inside loosening little by little over the course of a couple years of having it, and at some point my Joy-Con actually slipped out. Even though those rails were very gimmicky and catchy to use, in practice it didn't feel very stable, and it left me with a feeling of wanting something better. And seeing how a lot of people in those Switch 2 experience videos are saying that the magnetic Joy-Cons feel so much more stable than the original speaks volumes to the improvements that Nintendo made to the Joy-Con 2s. And number six is, of course, the Switch 2 includes a massive VRR HDR 1080p 100Hz display. Those specs are insane, even saying them now, and especially by today's standards. Not even the ROG Ally has HDR and VRR. The Steam Deck OLED has HDR, but an HDR, VRR, 1080p, and 100Hz display, and that's not even the best part. The screen is 7.9 inches. For reference, the Legion Go's insanely massive screen is 8.8. So that would make the Switch 2 screen slightly smaller than the Legion Go's, but a lot larger larger than the screens on the ROG Ally and Steam Deck. So I am definitely looking forward to this insane display upgrade on the Nintendo Switch 2. And that could be enough to make me buy the system alone. The thing is only $450 for a display this nice. That's almost a steal, but we get so much more. And number 7 is most and eventually all Switch 1 games will be backwards compatible with the Switch 2, which is what everyone wants, myself included. Now there are more than 100 games from the Switch 1's library that is not compatible with the Switch 2, and that's including games like Doom Eternal. But I'm sure that Nintendo is going to make either Nintendo Switch 2 versions of them or will give us further upgrades in the upcoming months after the Switch 2 launch. And number 8 is certain games like Mario 3D World with Bowser's Fury will get free performance and graphics upgrades. Now, I love to play 3D World with my partner, and I absolutely love Bowser's Fury. I think it's one of the most epic Mario games, and that's counting Mario Odyssey. So to get a free graphical upgrade for that is going to be really nice. And I'm looking forward to a lot more free upgrades, depending on how well the Nintendo Switch 2 does. I know that's what Nintendo is waiting for before either announcing more paid upgrades or free upgrades. It all depends on how the system does, which is a bit unfortunate but expected because it is a business after all. And number 9 is the Switch 2's Joy-Con 2s will include a mouse mode, which can help with first-person shooters like all of those Call of Duty games coming to Switch 2 that a lot of people heard about last year, and can even be used in the Switch 2's main menu, which I guess can make it easier to sift through all of your library. Instead of holding the down button or diagonal to get to a certain screenshot, you can now use your mouse mode to go to that specific screenshot and most likely scroll to the bottom. If there is some kind of scroll option, but you can always use some kind of sidebar, I guess. So hopefully that will make the Switch 2's main menu more accessible to mouse mode as well. And finally, number 10 is the Switch 2 is said to be about 10 times more powerful than the original Nintendo Switch. And seeing how many impossible ports were ported to the first Switch, with 10 times more power, I can imagine Nintendo porting over most, if not all, AAA games in the next 5 to 10 years, starting with titles like Elden Ring, Cyberpunk, Hitman World of Assassins, Split Fiction, and Street Fighter 6. And those were only the first of Nintendo's many announcements that are rumored to be coming very soon. These games alone are some of the most groundbreaking and ambitious games in our generation, especially a game like Split Fiction. And I've got an extra green flag for you guys. Now, the Switch 2's dock mode will most likely be 2 times more powerful than the Switch in handheld mode. The dock also includes a fan for longer and more taxing play sessions. And for people that almost exclusively play their Nintendo Switch 1 games docked, this is going to be a huge improvement for you. Or if you play your games mostly in handheld mode, you're most likely going to try out to see just how much better the Nintendo Switch 2 can handle these games in dock mode. So that's an appealing option for both parties. But yeah, that is the end of the green flag list. I hope that everyone isn't too upset about the red flag list, because I always intended on coming out with a positive version of it. But yeah, I am looking forward to the Nintendo Switch 2 itself. I can't wait to play Cyberpunk and Street Fighter 6 on it to see exactly how well the system can handle those games and how good it's going to look docked and handheld. But yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you so much for watching, and have a good one. Later.